Thank you, Chairman Hudson, for holding this important hearing today. And to our expert witnesses, thank you for joining us. Last year, my district suffered catastrophic damage and loss from Hurricane Helene. This was a once-in-a-100-year hurricane. Never before have we seen such damage in both the central Savannah River area and all of eastern Georgia. You can imagine 100-year-old trees and losing 40% of our treescape. And in fact, the first press conference that we had with the governor there, the state director was asked the question, how do we know where the shelters and the water and the food supplies will be, the locations? And he said, go to our website. We had no power, no internet, and of course all the television stations were there covering the press conference, and no television for 10 days. So you can see that we've got some work to do. In the weeks after this hurricane, we had disruptions, as I mentioned, and danger to both personal safety and property. I want to simply reinforce how vital it is that we guarantee our public safety officials can always be assured that their communications will not be disrupted, especially during times of emergency. Sheriff Dykes and Mr. Newton, how has the market for public services changed in the last 10 years?
So the market, going back to your point, and you brought up a great point, okay, the website's not available, how do we know? One of the things we're doing in our county, and obviously everybody has one of these cell phones for the most part now, is creating apps. We have Ready SB County as the app, so a lot of the predictive technologies of what will happen in a fire, flood, mudslide. We had Snowmageddon, similar to kind of what you're describing, that we, in Southern California of all places. But the market going, it's kind of, we've talked about various medias here today. The market is really all the medias, and we're looking at things generationally also. So certain people ingest things differently than others, and if we don't take that into part of this conversation, then we're missing the point. Same thing with first responders. If we don't develop a robust broadband network, they're going to figure out how to do it on their own with this device here. So the market has changed significantly. And then also you talk about, let's go into the sky. In my county, I have the San Andreas Fault. I have 2 main dispatch centers for that purpose and that purpose alone in terms of engineering reports that have been done. If that fault goes, they are going to certainly separate. We're also looking at Starlink and looking at the sky so that we can not just have our safety broadband network, but augment it to where we can hit a satellite and still communicate voice over IP with the systems that we're talking about here today.
Good. Mr. Newton?
Thank you. In a lot of the areas that I respond to, these conditions, they change. What's working today may not necessarily be working tomorrow. We have, I believe in Yancey County, we had at least 13 A-frame sandwich boards that in central parts of different communities. That's how we shared information for the first several weeks. During Helene, we also were able to take advantage of low Earth orbit satellite systems. I think there is still an opportunity for the very small aperture satellite systems to keep some of these other devices online. We would much rather have an actual cell site instead of a deployable. But our ability to work through that, and in fact, many communities now, once the deployables were introduced by the carriers, we have now invested in our own. And we just coordinate with the carriers to make sure that we're not the cause of harmful interference.
Mr. Newton, obviously, do you feel better about the options that we have today versus 10 years ago? And why did you choose FirstNet over another service?
So we actually have a diverse series of systems that we use. So we use the big 3, FirstNet, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Because again, in my office, we can't fail. Everything always has to work. What FirstNet has given us is that dedicated core specifically for public safety, the use of band 14, which they were allocated, that allows, again, that dedicated to public safety activities. I know during Tropical Storm Chantal, I took advantage of it when I had to set off our WIA system. I was in the midst of the storm. I was able to connect using my FirstNet device to our, the shelf software that actually sets off our WIA system.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to our witnesses. I have a few more questions I'll submit for the record, and I appreciate your response on that, and I yield back.